Why is gender equality in entertainment important on a global level? The media created and distributed by Hollywood is consumed around the world, and how gender is represented on screen affects attitudes and realities everywhere. Achieving equality on screen begins behind the camera, where women are systematically underrepresented. Despite many barriers, women creators contribute varied and invaluable stories to our cultural fabric. Women are auteurs. Their work is patient, potent, award-winning, groundbreaking, and money-making. Female stories are gritty, gut-wrenching, meandering, macho, and masterful. Women make franchise films, independent films, art films, documentaries, and dramas. Women create music videos, commercials, and new ways of seeing.
I think the biggest misconception of women directors is that there aren't many of us. People do not know of the female directors that are out there doing incredible work.
One of the misconceptions is that we're other, like we're not like you. We think, we feel, we have aspirations and dreams just like the gatekeepers.
How unbalanced is it? Men outnumber women in production roles by 5 to 1. Across content creators, females make up only 7% of directors, 20% of writers, and 23% of producers.
Half the population is female. If that's not reflected in the people who are writing the stories, telling the stories, and making the decisions about the stories, you're missing out on half the population's perspective.
Groups are being erased that are part of our public discourse, they're part of the fabric of this country, and they're simply invisible.
Of the top grossing films in 2014, only 1.9% were directed by women, 11.2% had female writers, and just 21% had a female lead.
When you look at the numbers, we see that gender bias is a lot more rooted than we could have ever imagined.
It's not easy to break down those barriers, and if you take your eye off the prize, those barriers can sometimes get reinforced when you're not looking.
The lack of opportunities for women in the entertainment industry compound with the damaging stereotypes and inequities of everyday life. What are we telling the world when only 10% of films have a gender-balanced cast, 31% of speaking roles are female, and only 22.5% of the fictional workforce is comprised of women?
We actually have to rewrite the fairy tales. The fairy tales have been written in such a way that it really sets a whole different set of expectations for what the role of a woman is.
When even one female writer works on a film, screen time for women increases 10.4%. Under a female director, female speaking characters in film nearly double. As content consumers, we have a right to demand better representation of women and minorities in media and entertainment.
When you're more inclusive in the decision-making, when you bring more people and give them a seat at the table, things change.
I think men and women can do the same jobs in this industry. And if we understand that and recognize that and embrace it, this industry is going to change forever.
Gender parity requires committed men and women working together to change the status quo. This idea is at the heart of He for She.
Nobody ever changed because the data told them they had to change. People change when they have an experience that change is necessary and possible.
The greatest hurdle of achieving equality behind the scenes and getting the numbers up is commitment. The minute that people in the position to do the hiring, make that commitment, and make it a point to find women directors and people of color, they make the change and they bring the change, and it happens fast with great results.
My real-time hope is that someone right this moment decide that they're going to reach out and find out about the other. Just explore the resistance so that we can become conscious of the sort of default thinking that is guiding us sometimes when we aren't aware of it.
How will you fight for equal representation, both on screen and off? Stand together for gender equality at heforshe.org.